Is it possible to be too good at saving money? We're always told that we need to do the absolute most for our future self. But there's a point where your retirement account starts growing at the direct expense of your current happiness. If you ever felt the pang of guilt about buying a $20 salad or skipping a weekend trip because you feel like you should be investing that money instead, you might be caught in a scarcity trap that's harder to escape than you think. Think about the last time you planned a big vacation. You spent hours researching hotels, pinning cafes, mapping out every sunset view. But imagine the day it came to leave, and instead of going, you sat down on your couch and you looked at the itinerary. You felt safe because your travel fund is sitting in your bank account, but you actually never got the sun on your face. When we oversave, we're essentially collecting itineraries for a life we're too afraid to board on the plane for. Coming up in this video, I'm going to show you how to identify the hidden signs that your responsible saving habits have become a scarcity trap. The simple math to figure out exactly when you've crossed the line into oversaving, and a practical way to start turning up the dial on your life right now without compromising your future security. For years, the gold standard of being good with money has been your ability to not spend it. You've probably spent a decade or more training your brain to see every dollar as a seed that needs to be planted for the future, and that has served you well. It's likely why you have a healthy balance in your accounts right now. But here's the problem. When you spend 20 years training your saving muscle, your spending muscle completely atrophies or wastes away. In research, it's called the decumulation paradox. Very fun to say. It describes when people who have spent their whole life saving find it nearly impossible to actually use the money when they retire. They've spent so long being afraid of it running out that even when they have more than enough, the act of spending feels like a failure. It's a transition gap. You think that the day you retire, a light switch will flip and you'll suddenly be comfortable booking the first class trip to a luxury villa. But that's just not how the human brain works. If you haven't practiced the skill of spending, converting money into life experiences, you're gonna find yourself sitting on a mountain of cash, still eating the same $20 salad and feeling guilty about it. The real risk of oversaving isn't just about numbers, it's about your time. Every dollar in your retirement account represents hours of your life that you traded away at work. If you wait till 70 to start living, you're betting on a version of yourself that might not have the health, the mobility, or even the desire to do the things that you're dreaming of today. You're essentially letting opportunities for certain experience pass you by because you're too busy working for a future surplus you might not actually ever touch. We often think that, a dollar's a dollar. But in terms of what a dollar could do for your life, that's not exactly true. Think about the last 1,000 hours you spent at work. For a professional woman in her peak earning years, that is a massive amount of life, right? Now imagine that I told you that because of your oversaving, you're essentially working those hours for free. Why? Because if that money oversaving is destined to be sitting in an account when you're 90, only to pass it on to heirs who are currently in their peak earning years, you never actually got the benefit of the work you did. You traded time and energy, but you did not get the return. This is where the concept of spending phases come in. In his book, The Prosperous Retirement, Arthur Michael Stein broke down retirement into 3 distinct stages: the go-go years, your slow-go years, and the no-go years. Your go-go years are the early years of your retirement where you have the energy to do the things like travel, play with the grandkids, hike, start that passion project. Your slow-go years are when you're still active, but you're moving a little bit slower. And then your no-go years are when your world naturally gets smaller due to your physical limitations. The irony is, most of us are aggressively saving in the years leading up to those go-go years. But then that leaves you with a buttload of cash during your no-go years, when you physically cannot spend on the things that we say we want to. We also have to think about the whole concept of leaving it to the kids, because most people receive an inheritance when they are about in their 50s, 60s. By then, if they've learned from you, they've already established their careers, they have their own savings. If you have extra, gifting now instead of waiting until they're at their peak years lets you actually see the joy that money brings rather than just leaving a line item in your will. This could be helping them with a down payment or taking a family trip. The reason most of us keep our foot on the gas, saving every spare cent, even when it's hurting our current life, is very simple. Fear of running out of money. We stay in survival mode long after we reach safety. But if you don't have a clear definition of what enough looks like, you'll keep working and saving indefinitely. You'll be 85 years old with a massive bank account and a list of regrets, which is a much scarier outcome than having a slightly smaller balance. Interestingly, data shows that retirees are actually too conservative. A study of retiree spending habits found that a large majority of people actually have more money 18 years into retirement than they did on the day they stopped working. They're so afraid of a market crash or a rainy day that they live a smaller life than they had to. So how do you find your number without making it a complex equation? Aim to save enough to keep the lights on in retirement. This is what you're going to need for the basics like housing, healthcare, groceries. Once you see that your current savings are already on track to cover lights on bucket for the rest of your life, then you get to make a choice about what is most important to you. Saving more for later or experiencing more now while you can. Realize that every extra hour you work isn't buying to get you more safety. It's just adding onto a pile of money that you may not wind up using at all. So instead of asking, how much more can I save? Start asking, how much is this extra saving actually costing me right now? So if you realize that you're already on track to keep the lights on, how do you start enjoying the rest? It's one thing to understand this intellectually. It's another thing to actually swipe your card for something seemingly unnecessary and not feel that pit in your stomach. One of the best ways to do this is by creating sinking funds. Most people use budgets to tell them what they can't do. I want you to create one that tells you what you must do. Decide on a specific amount of money each month that's dedicated to things that have zero return on investment other than pure enjoyment. Whether that's high-end skincare, a weekend away, or just saying yes to an expensive dinner with friends. Think of it as a money dial. You've had the saving dial turned up to 10 for a very long time. And now I want you to pick an area of your life. It could be travel, a convenience, home environment. It could be travel, a convenience, an experience, and intentionally turn that dial up from a 2 to a 4. A great place to start is buying back your time. If you're a professional woman earning 80, 100K plus, but just spending your Saturday mornings scrubbing floors or mowing the lawn because you should save that money, you're making a bad trade. Your wealth should serve you. By hiring a cleaner or a lawn service, you aren't just spending money. You're buying back 4 hours of your life that you could spend with your kids or rest. That is the true purpose of the money that you're working so hard for. It's not meant to just be a line item on a statement. It's meant to be fuel for the life that you actually enjoy living. Ultimately, the goal isn't to reach the end of your life with the biggest pile of cash possible. The goal is to reach the end of your life having actually used the resources that you've worked so hard to build. If you find yourself oversaving, it's usually because you're trying to buy a sense of safety that you already have. You've done the hard work, you've built a foundation, and now it's time to live today. I also know that turning up the dials is a lot easier said than done when you don't have a clear picture of your numbers. It's hard to feel safe spending when you aren't 100% sure that your lights on bucket is actually taken care of. That's exactly why I offer a free financial roadmap call. This is a short one-on-one call where we identify why money feels heavy for you, pinpoint what's actually causing the stress, and decide on a clear next step. We'll look at where you are now and map out a path to getting you to your goals in a way that actually feels balanced. We want to create a plan that gives you both the future you want and the present you deserve. If you're ready to stop guessing and start feeling confident with your money, click the link below or the link right here to book your free call. I'd love to help you build your money system.